Good evening.
Good evening. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Very good.
All
So
right.
can I start now?
Yes, maximum confidence, yeah?
Okay. While many skin problems are caused by the genetic build of their host, the greatest impact comes from environmental factors. The factors with the greatest impact tend to be weather and allergies. Days that are particularly cold and dry can cause skin to crack, leaving it more exposed to allergens. This often triggers an undesired reaction from the host's immune system.
All right. Now, I'm hearing some pretty distinct improvement from the last couple of times that you were reading. I was telling you before that you were missing out sounds and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Your accuracy is a lot better this time around. Okay. In fact, there was only one place where I caught a very distinct missing sound, which was just the word particularly, the ly.
Particularly, yeah.
Kind of missing. Okay. But the rest of it was actually really good. Okay, so in that sense, right, really well done. Your practice, like paying more attention to the consonants, definitely paying off, right?
Like I got one question because I don't really know how to divide the sentence, and like if that's very long, I can't do it like in one go.
As in where you want to pause, is that what you meant? Yeah.
So
I mean, the theory is fairly simple, but it's not as easy to do all the time, right? So the idea is you want to communicate a full meaning before you actually stop speaking, right? So in other words, you want to communicate a full message. Now, here we can take a quick example, right? So you can see here, days that are particularly cold and dry can cause skin to crack. Now, this is a full idea, right? And so we want to try to say this in one sentence. If you stop at any point in the middle of this, it doesn't quite sound right just because you haven't completed the thought, right? So if you imagine you were saying, if you were actually talking to a normal person, they're kind of just hanging on. You're like, what are you talking about? If you just say days that are particularly, and then you just stop there.
How about if I like this sentence, if I stop like before N, or should I stop like before can?
Sorry?
With
I mean, so you say days that are particularly cold and dry, right? Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Now, this is an okay place to stop. It's not the best, right? Because what you've done is you've at least described a full object, so to speak.
Yeah.
So this is a noun phrase, and at least you've gotten the full object. So this is at least an object that they can visualize in their head, right? But it's not a complete sentence.
Yeah, definitely not.
Ideally, if we can avoid it, we don't really want to stop here. Okay, can cause skin to crack. That then makes it an entire idea that you can visualize.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
But for example, stopping here is better than stopping here.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Of course.
Days that are particularly cold and then you want to wait, right? So that's the general idea, right? Always give somebody like a full piece of information if you can. Right? Or if that's too hard, right, at least the full object rather than only half an object.
Okay.
Yeah. Other than that, there's no real hard, fast rules. This is only really a problem when you have the long sentences where you actually do need to pause to take a breath.
Yeah, because like when I practice the repeat sentence, I got a problem with that as well.
Here's an easier way to understand and visualize this, okay? Which is, imagine, I always say, imagine if you're going on a road trip, okay? Let's say that you're driving from Sydney down to Melbourne or something like that. The trip is very long. You're definitely going to need to pause and take a few breaks in the middle, okay? Now, it's your choice how many pauses, how many petrol stops and stuff you need to stop on, right? But obviously, it's better for you if you stop less times. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
So technically, you might say that in any long sentence, there's probably 4 or 5 separate opportunities where you could make a stop. You don't really want to stop at every single one, though. You want to kind of, distance, like kind of mark out the distances a little bit and try to minimize the number of stops to maximize your fluency score.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't. I should also say, when it comes to mark deductions, like penalties, you don't really get deducted that badly if you stop at a kind of appropriate place like this.
Okay.
If you have too many of them, your overall fluency will be a little bit lower, but it's not super damaging. It's only really damaging if you stop at inappropriate places like here.
Okay.
Okay, that's when you will lose marks. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
No worries. All right, fantastic. Oh, sorry, one last thing. We kind of got a bit sidetracked by this conversation. I was going to also comment, right now you're about the halfway mark, so you're doing a really good job in terms of reading the words more accurately now. Okay, but now what you want to do is you want to offset this with a bit more repeat sentence practice, because you're really overemphasizing a lot of these, joining words, like things like to be, for example. Okay, so in other words, at the moment, all of your words are super consistent in pace. They all have like the same level of emphasis, so to speak, which is highly emphasized. Okay, so this is where you want to work in a little bit more repeat sentence practice to kind of start grabbing those natural rhythms again. Yeah. Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much. All right, let's move on. Ying.
Hello.
Good
Hello.
evening. How are you doing?
Fine, I'm fine. And you?
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. Would you like to give this one a go for me?
Cool. First changing modern healthcare. Job of a doctor is more like the job of a chief executive or chief executive who run hospitals and physicians' practices. Don't just need to know medicine. They just also need to balance budgets. Budgets large and like this stuff. Make the marketing. Okay, can I try?
Yes, yes.
In a fast-changing world of modern healthcare, the job of a doctor is more and more like the job of a chief executive. The people who run hospitals and physician practices don't just need to know medicine. They must also be able to balance budgets, motivate a large and diverse staff, and make difficult marketing and legal decisions.
All right, fantastic. And I just want to say that you did a really good job. Now, I don't know if you guys were paying attention, but we could hear Ying practicing a little bit in the background, right? And one of the things that's very important is to repeat difficult word groups and stuff quite a few times. Okay, so she didn't just read through the entire thing once, right? She definitely did quite a few repetitions there. I will say, Ying, there's no need for you to actually whisper it when you're practicing. You should literally just do a regular read aloud when it's not recording.
Okay, thank you.
Right. So yeah, if you're going to a real test center, just read it out loud. There's no problem with that at all, right? You might as well give your voice a little bit of a workout as well when you're doing it. Now, other than that, right, once again, I'm just like Andy, I'm kind of nitpicking a little bit because your speech is very good. The only part which I thought was a little bit strange was this part here. They must also be able to balance budgets. Right.
Oh, they must also be able to balance budgets.
Yeah. So this must also, you kind of put a lot of emphasis on the word must. It was like they must, and then like also be able to, and it didn't quite match up very well.
Okay.
But other than that, the rest of your speech was pretty much spot on. You're one of those people, you should be getting a 79 to 90 score pretty easily.
Okay, thank you. You always give me a lot of confidence. Thank you, William.
Yeah, no problems. In fact, this is one of those things where when you're at kind of your level, right, one of the things I often recommend is go to the PT website and